Thank you guys for jumping on. We're always looking to connect with people who are like-minded and growth-oriented. And I have been following your journey since we got into real estate from when you guys were at KW, and it has been incredible. I know it doesn't always feel that way when you're in that seat and you feel like sometimes it's falling apart. But from the outside, what you guys have been able to accomplish has just been, very inspiring. And I think you guys are helping a lot of people. So I'd love to learn more about your story, what you guys are up to today, and what you're looking forward into the future. So Nick, if we could start with you of what your story is getting into real estate. Why did you do it? And, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into real estate in 2005. I was in college and I was delivering pizzas. I joke around that was always the best job I ever had, right? It was a no-brainer.
Wait, hold on. Nick, can I jump in there real quick?
Yeah.
And sorry, I'll probably jump in a few times, but
cool.
What company were you working for the pizza delivery?
It was called Hungry Howie's.
Okay. That's really interesting because my best job was Domino's Pizza. I was a Domino's delivery driver in college.
Yeah, it was. Look, it was easy. It was no brainer. You knew what to expect when you got in, and you clock out, you go home, and it was pretty decent money. And you got to drive around. But gas price, we're in Texas here, so I drive a big truck, and gas prices were going up. It was starting to eat into the tip share that I was earning, and so I started looking for jobs and other opportunities out there. And on our college job board, there was an opening for a real estate assistant. And my brother and I, who's my business partner, wanted to get in. We've always wanted to get into real estate investing. Read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad and some of the other real estate investment courses back in the day. And so I'm like, all right, might as well at least interview for the position. So I interviewed, got the job, and started learning from there. This brokerage was an independent brokerage. They were the number one. It was a husband and wife, they ran it as a team. There was the number one brokerage in the city that I lived in, and I got paid to learn from them, right? And so for the first year, it was really just helping take over their tasks, like mailing out their postcards. We had an accordion file that I would mail out their postcards to. I think it was for sale by owners and expired listings at the time. And then we started farming a neighborhood that they lived in. And so I got to learn how they were doing the farming side of the real estate business, as well as the referral game, right? So I got to see how they were treating their clients, and they were doing once a year like a client event and stuff like that, and how they just became well known in the community, and it led to them doing that. I think their best year when I was there, they wanted to sell one house a week, so 52 houses, which to me was at the time was a lot of real estate, and maybe the most most agents today, that's still a lot. So I got to learn from them, and in 2006 they asked me to get licensed so that I could start showing some of their clients around and doing some more of the license activities. Got my license in 2006, was doing that. I graduated college in 2007, and they offered me a full-time gig, working in the operation side. By the way, I was the worst real estate assistant in the world.
I believe that you were.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still great friends with them today, and I joke around. I'm like, I don't know what you guys were thinking, offering me this full time. Like, it was a salary plus a little bit of some money off of each deal that they closed, and I'm like, guys, I was god awful. But when they offered me that position, I had asked them. I said, look, I see the type of money that can be earned here. If I went full-time, 100% commission real estate agent, do you think I could earn $100,000 in my first year with you guys? They said, yeah, absolutely. So I said, okay, I'm going to do that. I don't want the salary. I just want to go 100% commission. Take in mind that I just graduated college. I just bought my first house, and I was newly married at the time. And so this was in July of 2007. Went really full time in October, and my first year I didn't sell. I sold 3 houses. So I didn't make $100,000, and it didn't go as well as I'd planned it. Right. Um, and, fast forward, the recession came and started happening.
Mm-hmm.
I decided ultimately it was best for myself to leave that brokerage shop. And I joined Keller Williams. One of my good friends was there. They talked about the training, and went to Keller Williams in December of 2007, and really just dove in. Right, was learning what to do and what not to do. And 2008, I had started to click, so it started going well. And going well meaning I had like 8 contracts in 1 month. I was walking around, man. I had the strut going. I felt like Superman, bullets bouncing off of me. I was like 90 something thousand in commissions that month. And all 8 of those deals fell apart. Right. And they didn't come back to life. Normally you lose some deals and you're able to get them back on a contract. And so I went 0 for 8. And I started questioning if I had the mental, the mental toughness or even the energy to stay in the real estate game. I mean, this is tough, man. Like 24 years old, my friends aren't buying from me because they're broke. They're either still in college or living in their parents' house. And my friends' parents weren't buying from me because I was their broke friend's kid, or their kid's broke friend right there. So it's like they're not going to hire. They don't trust me. So I started when I lost all 8 of those contracts. I said, screw it, I'm going to go look for a job, and started going on job interviews. Calling places to see if they're hiring. And ultimately, I had got a job. I went on a job interview at a foreclosure management company. So they needed to unload all the foreclosed assets that they had contracted on. And during that interview and when they offered me the position, they said, you need to work Monday through Saturday. And in order to hit the bonus levels they had in place, they offered me as like $60,000 or $65,000 a year salary, health insurance, et cetera. And they said, in order to really hit that bonus level, and really what we need you to start clearing off all these assets, you need to work on Sundays as well. And if you can find a way to squeeze in an extra, an 8th day of the week, go ahead and do that as well. And even though I had no money, I said, I appreciate the job offer. Let me think about it. And when I was heading home from that job offer, something clicked. I said, all right, if I were to spend as much time looking for motivated sellers and buyers, the way that I spent looking for a job, going on the job interview, selling myself in that interview appointment, following up, because they don't really give you the offer right away, following up. And then if I got that job offer, I still have to do the work to get paid. If I were to do that 7 days a week in real estate, I can make 6 figures. And so I turned it down, didn't know what I was going to do money-wise, but I turned it down. I started going on YouTube, buying courses, learning the expired and for sale by owner game and the prospecting-based business, and really learn from there, right? So started my bread and butter, and today one of our bread and butter lead sources, expired listings. Just calling people that don't know us, finding out their motivation, finding out their pain points, and seeing how we can help solve that problem to get to their final destination, or to maybe unload an asset that has become a headache for them. So since 2009 and on, we've made 6 figures, and then have grown our real estate team to we're about to bring on our 12th agent, doing anywhere from around $1 million, $1.4 million to $1.5 million in gross commissions.
Awesome. So what was your volume last year?
Last year was 44 million, which we were on a flat. We did a flat year. That was 2019.
We did flat volume, but we went up in units.
Right. So went up in units. Yep. I was going to do that.
Okay.
So we were flats in volume compared, from 18 to 19. We went up in units, and we went up in our average commission rate. So, even though it was 44 million, our average commission rate was, our charge commission was higher. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we were able to earn more revenue, which is what we're always looking for.
Got it. But was your price point about the same, or did it come down a little bit?
Price point went down. Our price point fell. Was it 30,000 roughly, Elizabeth? Something like that. Yeah, we fell 30,000 in price point.
Got it. So that's an awesome story. First off, sharing that with us. So it seems like from the start, you said something that was really important. Was you said you always wanted to become an investor, and I think you mentioned your brother as well. So it sounds like to me, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you were focused on the investment piece from the very beginning, even before you had $1 in your pocket.
That was the goal, right? I didn't know how I was going to get there. That was the goal of seeing how we, what better way to figure out how to buy, and acquire real estate than being on the inside where people are agents are helping people sell and buy real estate. So that was kind of the goal, to learn that. Once I got in, I didn't have a true game plan of it. I kind of left out part of that story. In 2009, I partnered with my brother. We quickly learned that, one, you can't have two chiefs. And so we learned that my brother is best on the investment company side. So in 2010, we started A&G Real Estate, which is our investment holding arm. And from our first flip in 2010 to today, which is February 4th, 2020, we have over $100 million worth of real estate holdings. So it's 230 plus 250, somewhere over 200 plus real doors, cash flowing doors, 6 storage facilities, assisted living, and commercial retail, strip centers. So we quickly realized that was his best place, and my best place was here on the traditional real estate side, helping grow that.
Got it. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're in the sales business to get the cash, and then you're handing it over to your brother, and then he's going out and making these strategic investments.
Correct.
And you said $100 million worth of real estate holdings.
Yeah, it may be a little bit more than that, right? As of today, but somewhere around that.
Well, yeah, after 100, right? Who's counting? Bruce, what's your opinion on that, man?
Well, first of all, what speaks to me about your story is opportunity kept coming up and you kept taking advantage of it. I wrote opportunity down like 3 times. You had the opportunity. You just happened to walk by that job board. You took that opportunity. The opportunity of the downturn in the housing market made you move to the expireds and to the foreclosure side. Like that was like you rolled with the punches as time went on. And what I see, that speaks to me because I come from a similar background where I had to take opportunities as they came along. So bravo to you, man. I identify with that. But like what speaks to me is your ability to, like I said, roll with the punches and adapt and evolve over time. That's awesome. The $100 million in real estate, I don't know what else is there to say about that.
Yeah. So Nick, what's your goal with that? So, is there a number that you're looking to hit, or is the sky the limit, or?
Yeah, we don't have on that side. There's not, you got to think $100 million sounds great. But you got to remember we've got debt service on that and everything else. So, and that's in the middle of building that project. So we're not even realizing all the cash flow on that just yet and the opportunities. So, we created a new company this year called Goodhorn Capital. So, you talk about opportunity, and we'll talk about opportunity, like even with Elizabeth, of how she opened my eyes, not even forced. I was going to say forced, but that's the wrong word. She opened my eyes to looking into how to even take, not get complacent with opportunities, but we opened a company called Goodhorn Capital, and that's now our money raising arm in order for us to continue to grow at the pace that we want to grow to get to where we want, which is, us earning 7 figures and somewhat of a residual income. Now, residual, we don't call it passive because I don't believe there's such thing as passive. There still needs to be oversight and there's management with that. But each of us earning about a 7-figure in that residual revenue side. So until we hit that, that's really our goal. And it's to continue leaving a legacy, for our future generations from the wealth side. So that's really the goal, and it's evolving. We didn't think that we would go down. First of all, we didn't think that we would go from owning single family rentals to owning a 72 unit duplex to then owning, getting into partnerships with storage facilities and then a commercial strip center. And then we never thought we would be in the assisted living game like that. We partner with somebody else. We don't want to manage an assisted living facility. That just so happened to come up, and we had the right piece of dirt, and we have the expertise and the land development and how to navigate the counties and city waters when it comes to all that stuff. So it's right now, sky's the limit. It's all about that. It's all about growth opportunity. I'm 37 years old. My brother's 35, 36. So we still got a long way to go.
You don't even know his age.
I think he's 35. He's 35.
He's 34.
Oh.
So,
He's in his mid 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nick, man, that's incredible. And so your brother is mostly running all of that right now, just
Correct.
to confirm. Okay,
Yep.
You're running the team. So Elizabeth, I've been watching your Boss Babes and been showing my wife and just being like, look at these girls who are just absolutely crushing it in real estate and other businesses. Can you tell me more about your story and what you're looking forward to next?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got licensed in April 2015. So
Okay.
I'm a lot younger and more youthful than Nick. But, I'm actually from Texas, but I lived in Missouri for 12 years and graduated college in 2013 with a degree of fashion marketing and management. And I got a job pretty quickly out of college in my field. And within 9 months at this company, I had essentially worked my way up to as high as I could go without replacing the owner or someone either quitting or dying. And so that was not fulfilling enough for me. And didn't realize that I essentially always needed to work for myself. Like I couldn't explain it or articulate why that wasn't fulfilling for me then. But let's face it, I was like 21, 22 years old. My lease was coming to an end. So I convinced me and my roommate to move back down here to Texas, where luckily she had family and I had family, and moved down here with no strings attached July 2014. I had started looking for jobs and opportunities and came across Keller Williams, which was the first and only brokerage I'd been at before, EXP. And I knew that when I came down here, I was going to go to this meeting at Keller Williams. I had no clue how real estate worked. I had no clue. We had moved a ton in my life. That's why this had been on my radar, is we had moved back and forth for my parents' jobs. So when I graduated high school in 2009, I knew I either wanted real estate or fashion. And I was like, well, screw that. This sounds like an awful time to get into real estate. So I'll go to college to spend all this money on a degree I'm going to use for a total of 9 months. And I'm actually happy that I did do that still, because I'm happy I didn't start my career up there, or I could be somewhere totally different now. So I moved down here. I went to a meeting with Keller Williams and figured out like, oh, this is a commission-based job and I have to go get a license and here's what it's going to take. So I started real estate school. And with my first class, I went to one day and I actually was bored and I didn't go back. And I kind of started to have a freak out of, I thought I would love this. This schooling doesn't seem so great. And this is now like a year and a half, almost 2 years after I graduated college. So I'm playing the comparison game and I'm seeing all of my friends start to kind of get their first promotions at their job in their fields. And I'm sitting here having moved, not working in my degree. And now I just stopped going to real estate school. So I started applying for jobs again. You're going to hear some similarities in our stories here, which is kind of funny. I started applying for jobs again, and I started getting interviews at Neiman Marcus Corporate in downtown Dallas. And in the fashion world, that's a really big opportunity and big win to be with that company. So I started interviewing, and I kept not getting the job. But they kept saying, we love you so much. We want to throw your name back in the hat, in the ring. Are you okay with that? I'm like, yes, of course. So I interviewed 4 different times for 4 different positions to not get the job. And come December, I had interviewed for my 5th position with them. They called me and offered me the job. And I was so not excited to take this opportunity. I felt so limited and confined, just even thinking about 9 to 6 sounds awful. And most days I do probably 7 to 11, at this job. But that I turned them down, enjoyed holidays, Then went after the holidays, went back to real estate school, got my license in 3 weeks, had to wait for it to come in and stuff like that, but finished education in 3 weeks, got licensing, and then never looked back. And I just thought that I would kill it. Like, I thought, I'm so personable, I'm so friendly, I'm a people person, I'm extrovert, this is gonna be awesome. And I did like nothing for the first 4 to 5 months. So I'm in the office as an individual agent. I remember talking with one of the leadership, and they were like, how are you gonna get business? I was like, what do you even mean by that? I don't know what you mean. And so I'm just like struggling my way through to the point where I thought about leaving the brokerage. It's got to be them. Interviewed at 2 other brokerages that run more like a team where they hand over leads and everything. And I just wasn't sure that that was the answer. And then actually there was a mastermind at our office with some of the biggest players in the game nationwide, but also locally. And Nick and Austin were on the mastermind. That didn't cause me to reach out to them or anything. I think I did creepily friend them on Facebook, but like that's no big deal anymore. And that was what kept me at that Keller Williams office. And it was like, every day you're not doing what you need to do. You're not doing this lead generation thing you learned about in Ignite. So get your ass in gear. And so I started coming in, and I even within a week, I set my first buyer consultation, which I had no clue what to do. Ultimately did not get that buyer or that client. And luckily I was like the lease queen of the office, taking all of the leases from everyone. And his brother, I actually had a client for his brother, one of the first build to rent communities that they built. And I go and take a client out there, talk to him if it's available. He totally like leases it out from underneath me. And luckily, that's how I think actually him and I became friends on Facebook, was because I was asking questions about his rental. And like a week later, I see them posting for an inside sales agent. And what's important to know is I've been all in on this business financially, let's call it, maybe not always mentally, from the moment that I moved down there in July. So we're going on 8 months of like no money. I'm living with my sister. I'm living off whatever savings I created for my $30,000 a year job before that. And so I was not willing to take another job, as much as I was getting feedback from family that's like, maybe you should go serve a little bit while you're building this up and do this. And I just knew I could not have a backup option, or my backup option would take all of my time because of my work ethic, and it would take me away from this. So I was willing to look at this inside sales position because I was like, it'll get me to the office every day. It's part-time. I'll go call for 4 hours, figure out this whole game, be in that environment, pick stuff up. And when I applied to him over Facebook, he was like, this just doesn't make sense to me. Do you not want to be on a team? And do you not want to be a buyer's agent? And I had actually had a brief stint on another team for a week, like my first month licensed. And day one there on that team, like I knew it wasn't the right fit. Me and this person are really friendly outside of being in business together, but we just had totally different styles. And so I was really nervous to go back onto another team. And he asked me, are you against real estate teams? And in my head, I think, hell yeah, I am, after what I experienced last time. But I was like, no, let me just play this out and see what he says. And this time I at least somewhat knew what I didn't want. So I set expectations from the get-go of like, I'm not willing to do X, Y, and Z, which is really dumb because I had no sales. So I should have been willing to do anything. But he didn't argue with me on it. And so he hired me over Facebook. I came in like a week later to sign paperwork. When I get there and join the team, which is the Good Home team with Nick, I'm just a buyer's agent. I get shoved into this room that's called the redheaded stepchild room. And that's where all the buyer's agents Nick never spoke to. And like no one would actually come in and lead generate. There was no like real structure. Everything was more of a suggestion on like, come in and lead generate 20 hours a week. And then I would come in and no one else was there. I didn't even meet Nick until I'd been on the team for 2 weeks. He like came in and like peeked his head in and said hi, finally. But there was no training, no nothing. But there was a computer, and someone who else was on the team, Alex, he was the one who did a lot of the onboarding initially then. And he said, here's a computer. Boomtown's our CRM. and I'm going to send you some Boomtown training videos. So I watched like 6 videos from Boomtown, which is not really that great, let's be real. And I just kept it simple. I knew that there's leads in here. I need to connect with them. I need to convince them to meet with me, and then I need to help them find a home. And I kept it as simple than that because I honestly didn't know any better. And that just slowly progressed to, well, let's see, I got hired on the team like the very last day of September or October 1st of 2015. By Christmas Day, I had 2 closings. Yes, Nick, I did. I know you always want to argue me on that. I had 2 closings. He's so annoying. He's not, I'm actually now just arguing with myself at this point. But I had 2 closings, and then January I had nothing. And I kind of started driving for Lyft a little bit because I was worried about money and finances and stuff. And I did 3 rides with Lyft where I was like, my time would be better spent lead generating on the phones. Like, I'm cutting this out. And when I did that, I luckily had started asking around about like how people were really prospecting, and started looking into dialers. Luckily, Austin and Alex overheard me talking about a dialer, how I wanted it, because I was going to find a way to like pay for it on my own, not even thinking that a team should maybe supply this for me if they wanted it. And luckily, Austin was like, that's not too expensive. We'll get it for you. And like my mind was blown. I was like, what? But I started prospecting and dialing, and my first full year on their team, I outsold their 4-year agents and have been the top producer ever since. Made $99,000, like $1,000 shy of 6 figures. But I did that really in the last 7 months of the year. Even hired my first showing agent, and then that progressed from there to 2017, stepping into a team leader role to help recruit other people to the team, train them, get them into production. Did that for 2.5 years. And our best year, I think, under my leadership, we got to about 55 million in production, 213 units. And I actually did step down from that position this past April and had an initial focus on just working with my buyers and sellers again. And that is something that I'm still working on, and had my most productive year last year from a sales perspective, looking to, I'm not looking to double it, but it's still looking to grow probably by about 30% or so this year. And then I've got a little side project that I'm working on that I'm not going to speak about, but it goes all in line with everything else that I already do in real estate that hopefully will be released end of March, early April, and people will be able to benefit from.
Love it.
So it sounds like there was like a switch that turned on when you joined the good team, because it sounds like you were experiencing a little bit of failure, on your own or with this other team. And then you came to what changed from going to the good team?
The switch wasn't joining the team. That was kind of almost a catapult, but the switch was going to the mastermind. And that was, okay. It was Nick Good, Tim Heil, Austin, Josh DeShong, Seychelle Van Poel. You got powerhouses. And what I heard all of them say was that they spent 4 to 5 hours a day when they were brand new on the phones prospecting in one way or another and hearing their stories there. And I kind of would get up every day and like work on that seller's guide or that listing presentation, work on that buyer's guide. And I would kind of get on my computer and look in the office's like internal Facebook group, but I wasn't actually taking action on finding new business. And there was a guilt in my head that I knew that I wasn't doing it. And then also like the frustration of like, why isn't it happening and why is it coming to me? And that was the reality check that kept me out the brokerage and was like, it's no one else's. That was me taking my accountability and responsibility back and saying, like, you're not taking the action. So I started to take the action, and then joining their team, I saw as the opportunity of let me shortcut the process and let me surround myself with people who have the success that I want. A part that I guess I left out is I got hired on, let's call it October 1st, 2015. So Nick sat down with me in December and we talked about goals for 2016. And I told him that my goal was to leave him in a year because I wanted what he had and that I was really just here to learn from him. And I wasn't scared to say that to him, but he also wasn't scared to hear that from me. And I remember him saying, what if I showed you that of how to create your business within our business? And kind of like I did with his brother when he hired me, I was like, yeah, this guy just wants to make money off me, but whatever, like, don't get kicked off the team because you just told him you plan to leave him in a year. So say whatever you have to say. And I remember going into 2016, I had a countdown in my head where I'd be like, man, it's like 8 more months before you said you were going to leave. You better like get some stuff figured out, and you better make sure you get all this knowledge that you need. And I had that countdown, and then finally I realized I don't have to leave this team in order to be successful. I don't have to, like, the hard part I think for me was the ego, for sure. I have an ego, and to think about being on someone else's team and not getting the full recognition that I wanted from maybe even outside public. But then I started to learn I still battle this in moments, honestly, but that ultimately we're better together. Like, no one succeeds alone. And me being on a team doesn't have to threaten my business or my income or anything. So it was actually that mastermind probably that was the shift. And then the team was it just pushed everything along.
So what was it about it was like the perspective, or was it?
I think it was the fact, it was just hearing how all of these people who had huge businesses that I would like to have, that they put in that work every single day, 7 days a week, at least 4 hours a day. And it was just that aha moment of like, you've already been feeling guilty because you know you're not technically doing it. And then they're sitting here telling you the thing that's led to their success was the fact that they took the action you're not taking consistently. So that was that moment, because I started doing it on my own for like a week or two before his brother threw up that post, and started to at least have success where I was connecting with people. I set that first appointment. I kind of saw it. And then talking to his brother and joining the team, I think I just saw that as the opportunity to shortcut the process. And I am a big, the whole who you surround yourself with matters. And so I am learning based, super curious, and I'm observant as hell. So I was going to go in there and watch and learn from everything that they do and did, and then take that to apply it for my own business.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So did you hit your 6 figures last year?
Oh, I hit it the second year. Yeah. It's only gone up year over year. That was, it was great because it was 3 times the money I'd ever made. But like to miss 6 figures by $1,000. So that was 2016. I exceeded it in 2017.
You would have just made one more call.
Don't even.
So
I was
Elizabeth,
1,500 calls a week compared to the other agents making 50.
So Elizabeth, with the money you're earning, what are you doing with it?
It's a good question. So I did my first flip last year and had a little bit of guidance from his brother, but also from another investor here locally. I've had some opportunities to invest with Nick and Austin that didn't play out. So right now I'm getting myself into a really liquid position, just kind of preparing for what I think the market's going to do next year. So I'm being super financially disciplined this year, working to live below my means, to save more. And if opportunity arises before like next year, the year after, I'm ready to take it. That's fine. But getting myself into a liquid position in case the market gets harder and I need to have that cushion to adjust with my business. But also I want to be ready to pick up properties and buy properties. And sometimes I also just want to hand my money over to Austin and tell him to do whatever he wants with it. I think he'd let me do that. So.
He would. Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with an assisted living facility under your name.
I'm okay with it. So like I said, just sometimes investing with, like I haven't done it yet. We had opportunities, but looking forward to the future, investing with them and some of the funds. Right now, some of my money I am redeploying into this side project that I'm working on that's hush-hush. But so that's kind of, don't laugh, Nick. Good. I saw you shake your head. So that's kind of my focus right now, along with buying and selling.
Awesome. So I want to switch gears real quick, and I want to have some rapid fire questions. So Nick, we're going to start with you. You ready?
Yep.
Who's your favorite team
Don't answer that, Nick.
That's a trick.
So, Nick, what pisses you off more than anything in real estate?
Emotional agents.
Tell me more about that.
Agents that get too emotionally involved, where we have to remember we are the facilitator of these transactions. We do not have, they get too emotionally invested into the deal, and they're typically the ones that continue to cause disruption or not make the transaction as fluid as it should be, right? And then what that in turn happens is it makes frustrated clients who then begin to have distrust or lack of confidence in hiring a real estate agent.
Okay, that makes sense. Elizabeth, what pisses you off more than anything in real estate?
I hate dishonest agents. And what I mean by that is I'm honest to a fault, so I can't stand the people who are celebrating the vanity metrics when, like GCI, when their profit or net is actually negative or zero. I can't stand the people who where I've suffered through this specifically is like from a recruitment game. I'm just always going to tell agents the reality of what it's like to do business, to be a real estate agent, what the day-to-day is going to take. And we've definitely lost opportunity to people who have just been given the fluff from other agents of how great it is. And all the dishonesty from all of that versus the reality of it is something that I cannot stand.
It's setting them up for failure because they get there and it's not what they thought.
It's 100% setting everyone up for failure ultimately, even themselves. And the thing is you have to take it sometimes a little bit more seriously. It's one thing if you believe everything you're saying, but if you don't actually believe what you're saying and you know that you're intentionally doing it, you could be kicking this out of someone in an industry that they could very well excel in. Because most of us don't get in and have unlimited amount of time before we need to make a dollar or be successful. We all typically have a short window that we can test this out with, that we need to start making sales happen. So it's incredibly frustrating to me. But you don't know what you don't know, so they don't know that what I'm saying may be the truth and what they're saying may not be. Or you want to believe what they're saying. Like, I see how it happens to the agents, but the agents who are doing it should know better.
Okay, so that was rapid fire one. Nick, in 5 years from now, what does the real estate market look like for the agent?
Oh, great question. I mean, the market-wise, we are going to be in a downturn. So there will be a downturn in the market, but I don't think, me personally, I don't think the marketplace changes from the agent side of things in the next 5 years. It's going to be business as usual. I personally believe that brokerages are the ones that's overhyping any type of changes that are coming and putting kind of fear mongering. So agents need to be putting their head down, focus on building their database, loving on their database, providing value to that. Value can be from the investment game. Value can be setting up, maybe discounted services when it comes to contractor, HVAC, heating and air conditioning, et cetera. And the larger your herd or following is, the greater your business will be. So it's put your head down, focus on building your database, love on it, nurture it, and then get used to putting yourself out on video, because I just heard a stat by 2022, 85+% of the impressions online, especially Facebook and Google, will pop up through video related searches. So that's what I think the next 5-year changes will look like.
So it sounds like to me that you're saying the technology disruption for agents is actually just going to end up being a tool for them through like videos and other platforms. Or do you believe that that's really going to disrupt the agent as much as the bigger brokerages are saying it will?
The bigger brokerages that are saying that are fear mongering. So they're doing that in order to, a real estate brokerage has three things they're focusing on: agent attraction, agent retention, and then agent production. So the big brokerages that are talking about, technology game changers, why are they doing that? They're doing that to attract agents into the door. And then why do they want agents on their own technology that they own? Well, the more agents that adopt a higher adoption rate equals equals a lower leave rate or a higher retention rate. And so that those two things solve those first two problems, right? Agent attraction and agent retention. And then you focus on the training side, which will get the production up. So in my opinion, that the bigger these brokerages that are talking about technology disruption and the changes, they're doing that in order to hedge their bet, or to not even hedge their bet, but it's really to attract more agents in, by saying, all right, if I don't partner with these people, I'm going to be out of business in the next 5 years, like travel agents.
Yeah. It seems like it's a big distraction from the ground game of building relationships and building profit versus revenue. So to me, what I'm hearing you say is it's kind of like what pisses Elizabeth off is it's kind of like a vanity metric, right? There's like this big thing that's going to change the industry and you should be fearful. And if you leave us, you won't get access to it, kind of thing. When in reality, it's still a ground game, personal relationship business.
Absolutely. I use the term, it's like watching a magician work, right? What their hands are doing right here in front of us is not what's happening here on the side to really make that magic trick work. And so, we got to take our blinders off and really try to look through what the message is deep down. I'm not saying that technology is not going to do anything. I believe that technology only will help us get in front of more and more people on an easier rate. And so that we can then, it's going back a little bit old school, that belly to belly, that face to face, so that, that we can continue fostering and nurturing those relationships, so that when that time comes that they're ready to buy, sell, invest, or refer, they think of the Good Home Team, or they think of whomever real estate agent provided the most value to them.
Right. Elizabeth.
So essentially the same, very honestly.
Okay.
But I think in addition to that, I can't agree more with what Nick just said, because there is no lie that we still have disruptions in our market that are trying to cut out the real estate, that they're trying to make it quote unquote easier for the consumer, but it's, such a hit to their bottom line. And we really have been saying this for like a year, 2 years now, that relationship and that service is how you beat disruptors. And so being that full service concierge real estate agent, and that's a newer mindset, by the way, for like even Nick and I, like we were a lot more just very transactional based. And that's been a big switch the past 2 to 3 years for both of us. But I think that's really crucial. I think as the market does shift and goes into a down market, like everyone says, we're going to continue to see less and less agents. So agents, I think you need to be savvy, you need to be creative, you need to stay relevant. Video is definitely going to help to get your message out about you or what it is that you offer. But I think those are the two other things I would add to what Nick said.
Got it. Thank you for that. And then Nick, so tell us something that you haven't really told anybody lately. Is there anything that's going on in your life, or something that you want to talk about and share with people that we haven't necessarily discussed yet?
Well, that's a great question. I always hate those questions because I'm pretty transparent. I don't really hold a lot of things back. Elizabeth, what would you say that people don't know about me, or that I would be holding back? But
is there something?
This is such a salesman in him. Like, let me ask you a question. I don't know what they don't know about you.
Well, is there something you guys talk about behind closed doors, for example, that you don't really share with the public regularly, that you guys really, it's something that pisses you off or something that you're excited about?
Look, I think we're like,
transparent. It's not even funny. Like,
yeah.
If we have a topic, go look at our Facebook page and watch those videos, because that we probably wrote it down and said, yes, we need to talk about that live.
Yeah, we've learned to look real raw and transparent, and so there's not much that is off limits. I mean, our office, like in our office, we're not very PC. We curse a lot, so I mean, if other than that, I mean, it's all, we're showing all our business out there. I mean, I'll tell you what I'm super excited about is the ability for us to be able to partner with agents across the United States and Canada with the platform that we're currently with, which is EXP. I just got a text right now that said, that one of our partners is partnering with another agent in Georgia. So, we're starting to see more and more of those coming on. That really excites me to see that in the next couple of years, we should be over 1,000 agents strong in our network that we can help affect their lives and hopefully show them a better path to making real estate work, right? Taking people from new or part-time, or maybe they're struggling and don't know whether they want to stay in this business or not, to help them show that there is a better way. And that's with partnering with us.
Yeah. And that's what you did, with you and Elizabeth teaming up.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's a mutual beneficial relationship on this one. This is not just a one-sided take-all relationship. This is her pushing me and me pushing her. We know how to push each other's buttons on this, and in order for us to grow the team, and the number one priority is continued growth. Otherwise, we would not continue to be in a business partnership.
We wouldn't. No, it's a very reciprocal relationship, and it is for all of our partnerships.
Yeah. And is that part of your transparency culture? Like, did that happen overnight, or like you said, it was something that you learned?
I do think we feel like we can be a little bit more transparent with being with EXP versus when at KW, because it still did feel more like everyone was still your competition ultimately, while here, like, truly, if you're aligned with us in our network, then I want and need you to succeed in order for me to succeed in this avenue. But regardless of that, we've always been this way. I mean, we've had people come up to us and say, like, man, I thought you were a real asshole, honestly, but really I learned that you were the first ones who didn't lie to me. And I just took time for me to learn that what these people said was a lie and what y'all said was true. So I do feel like, you didn't even ask this question, so I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole, but I was going to say, sometimes I feel like we grow slower because of how honest and transparent we actually are, because we're not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but we're going to tell you what you need to hear. And it may be not always the fun part of real estate, Yeah,
you've mentioned that you've missed out on opportunities of agents that see the vanity elsewhere, and you're honest with them, so they ended up going with the vanity. So actually, I have a question, guys. To segue off of, Nick, what you said about growing a team, and Elizabeth, what you said too about building a team and networking. So Momentum being a new brokerage in Jacksonville, and say you were an agent coming on, what's the number one thing that would be beneficial for us to communicate to the agent to help them make the decision to join with us? Like, what could we offer that would be most beneficial, that would help, like, flip that switch, like, I want to be with Momentum? Like, what could we offer?
That's a great question. I would say, I mean, it's really showing them the proven way, especially John, how you and your wife have built your business, right? And it's proven techniques that any agent, regardless of talent, regardless of database size, can implement on a day-to-day basis that will breed success and results, right? Because I think right now, teams and brokerages are all promoting the shiny new objects, which is just tools and technology. But again, tools and technology are not going to help the agents take business, right? That'd be like me having it in my iPhone, but if I never knew how to turn it on or make a phone call, then it's not going to help me reach out to circle prospect or call expires. And so it's having truly proven techniques and concepts that they can easily deploy their day-to-day business that will again breed results.
I also think if you could, with everything else that you all are already offering as a brokerage, I think about new agents. If you could kind of outline a suggestion of what a brand new agent's perfect day looks like, this goes hand in hand with what Nick said, because I may hear the word lead generate or call leads, and that may or may not be something you guys provide, but it's something you can offer guidance on regardless. But if I don't have an idea, like I'm really kind of direct with our new agents, being like, honestly, for that first year or two, it probably does need to be 7 days a week. And even if the weekend is just 1 or 2 hours on Saturday, 1 or 2 hours on Sunday of prospecting. But like our structure for a while was 8 to 11 or still is for a while, but it was prospecting from 8 to 11. But having that real conversation with new agents that, by the way, you won't reach the level of success most likely that you're telling me you want by just being here 8 to 11. That's just our minimum standard. So if you want to hit 6 figures your first year, that's probably 6 to 7 hours a day of prospecting every single day and being relentless on the phones or door knocking, however you do that. So I think that guidance of a perfect day of like what reality may actually need to look like would be really helpful, because I think a lot of us just don't know that coming in.
All right, so it sounds like you're saying like putting this, like dropping the systems in place, having the, like sharing the path to success, but also like putting the standards in place and helping them use their time the best that they can, because like you said, they come in not having that knowledge. So just handing it to them and saying, this is your path to success right here.
Yeah, I think so. This is, especially since we know what's the most thing, like when you tell people how much do you want to make, most of them always tell us 100,000. I don't know if that's the same in y'all's area or not, but that's the number one. So Nick and I, for our team 2 years ago, actually broke down the path to 100,000 for us being a team based off our average sales price, our team splits, a mix of buyers and sellers, because those splits are a little different. And then we even worked backwards to like how many appointments you're typically going to need to set, then you're going to run, then you're like, it got to the point where we could tell people what you need to do is you need to set 1 appointment a day. However long, then you have to door knock, do an open house, prospect on the phones. You know your path to 100,000 is setting 1 appointment a day. I don't obviously expect all those to stick. You're not going to run 1 appointment a day. Setting 1 appointment a day, 1 quality appointment a day will get you there. So we were able to make it really micro, but then they could take their liberties too, for like, if you do hit it in 2 hours, awesome. If you want to go enjoy the rest of the day, you can do so. But if you need to stay here until 8 hours or you don't leave until you get it, like, you know what your ultimate goal is for that day. And I think that made it a little easier. And then we saw the agents' work ethic and drive, and if they were really going to do what it took.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's really interesting. I sat down when we were opening Momentum. I was looking to meet with other agents and just hear their feedback at their current brokerages. And so I asked them a bunch of questions, basically, right? Just like is there a niche for us as a brokerage to come in and take top producers and help them grow on a faster track and, have a minimum standard, because there's other people who are doing the 100% commission in our market. And the number one complaint was that they're not being taught by people who are in their market who also had success. They're being taught by people that are just teachers, that are typically failed agents that just needed a job. And the failure just goes from 1 agent to like 10 agents, and they're not getting the information that they actually need. They're not seeing the path. They're like, it's like going to college and the professor is just reading from a PowerPoint that you can read yourself. And you're just super confused, and you're like, why am I paying 21 grand, which is ironically how much it cost me to go to college for a year, and I'm paying them 21 grand or whatever the amount is, and I'm not getting any value back, which is the number one complaint. And so we had 7 people join us in our first week that we were open, and the number one thing that they're looking for is we just want we know you guys did it, and we want to do the same thing. So it's following the path and then being able to go to the next level, which is the real estate sales, which is getting the cash. And then level 2, which is learning how to invest, which again, a lot of these big box brokerages, they've never had somebody who got enough sales to actually be able to invest and then be able to teach other people. And so that's where our concept for Momentum came in, is we have all these skill sets and we want to give back to the community.
your brokerage is very in line with our team as far as like on our mission, vision, values that we created. One of those things is helping agents even before our clients build wealth through real estate. So like investing, and that probably is in line because Nick and Austin were already on that path, but it's just very much in line. And for us, that's why we saw the opportunity at EXP, because now we got to be with people who built and create bigger businesses than what we had, but they had actually done it versus just the people teaching me about it at my market center.
Huge difference.
Huge difference.
The level of conversation and learning how to go through some of the nuances in this business on a day-to-day basis is incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the best agents that we know in our market, you've probably never even heard of, and they're multi-millionaires, and they have their niche that they go after, and everybody has a niche. It's just incredible. But I don't think we showcase enough of those people. I think we're showcasing, like you said, a lot of the people on stage with the vanity metrics. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, anybody can throw $100,000 down a hallway and create $100,000 off of it and break even and create nothing of value for anybody. And that's what we see happening across the board with some of these mega teams. And that was something that really frustrated me. I actually spoke up about it. And I said, like, hey, like, there's another way to do this where you can actually make money and have an amazing life and make investments and have a path to whatever you want. But this is like, the current system is kind of broken, the way that it's set up and the way and it's just like the college system, in my opinion. For a lot of the universities, it's broken the same way. It's just taught by people who don't know, and they're just there for a job, and they truly don't care about the results, the end results. Is this family going to be better from joining this organization or not? You know, and that's the way that we look at it. And so whatever we can do to provide value. And I think Nick hit on it earlier, was about legacy. Like, at the end of the day, Nick, it sounds like you're about legacy. How do you create generational wealth through real estate for legacy? Pass it on to your kids, pass it on to your family. Because my wife and I have this conversation all the time. This might be the last generation where you're able to jump the wealth gap before something really big happens, because all the money is going to the top 1%, and there's about 9% of the middle class left, and you're either going to go fall down to the lower class or you're going to get up to the upper class. And this might be the last one, because technology is changing so fast. Maybe not in real estate, which is a relationship business, but in other businesses.
Yep.
For you to be able to make that jump. Nick, do you see that too?
100%. So that's you know, one of the, and kind of the mindset that went that way is two things. It's creating generational wealth was never truly on my mind. I just wanted to make private jet money. But then I thought about it where one of our mentors, Seth Campbell, had mentioned, he's like,
awesome.
Yeah, Seth's an amazing guy, but you know, he mentioned, you know, he was at an event and he's like, you know, you can probably hopefully you can name your grandparents' first names, right? You know, he says, raise your hands if you can. Majority of the room goes up. He's like, all right, now keep your hands up if you know your great-grandparents, one of them, at least one of their first names, right? You know, a few hands go down. What about your great-great-grandparents? And a lot of it stops at that third generation. And it's like, well, I want to keep going, right? I want to haunt my family forever is kind of the running joke. But, and you talk about where technology disruption, the technology disruption, you're 100% on, John, with technology is disrupting future jobs, right? Typically when we lose jobs in one industry, there's another industry that picks it up and replaces that, and a lot of times creates more jobs. But right now what's happening is that we're not replacing the number of jobs that we're losing because of technology displacement. And so there's a big reason why that there's certain people that are running big businesses believe in there should be eventually a universal income, and I'm not a proponent of that. And so I want to make sure that I set my family up, just like our goals is set our agents up for success and future success. I want to set my future generations up for future success, that they don't have to necessarily rely on a universal income.
Yeah, that's huge. And just as a side comment here, there's been 3 grocery store chains that have gone out of business in Jacksonville, Florida in like the last month. And that's probably because of like Costco delivery, Amazon delivery, all that kind of stuff.
Whole Foods. Yeah.
Just closed. Did you see that, Bruce? Fair, and then Lowe's as well. And my wife and I are having the conversation, like the only one that's going to stay in business is Trader Joe's because they're service focused.
Yep.
And people would rather go there and have a premium product and service focused than order online. And it's convenient because everybody knows what to do, how to do, get you through the line quickly. And it's a pleasant experience. So the ones that are able to create the experience that, you know, the door delivery cannot might still have a chance to stay, but still all those people who are working at those jobs probably, I can't see them coming back because technology just replaced them and systems replace them.
Correct.
And so something that, you know, I totally see being a disruptor to a lot of industries that are maybe not as service based.
So that means make that money now, make that money,
Yep.
redeploy it, reinvest it, and read. If you haven't read it, read it, or if you have, read it again. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Make money work for you.
Another good one that we've been reading is Wealth Can't Wait by David Osborne.
Yep.
Another great book. But, you know, the conversation is like, there's no time to wait for you to start building your generational wealth. Like it needs to be today. This is probably one of the last generations. Real estate is probably one of the top compensated, if you run it correctly, business that's entrepreneurial as well. I don't know if there's one that you can identify that's better, but it's incredible opportunity for you to grow. Unfortunately, 98% of them don't make anything, or close to nothing, to be honest, because they just don't have the systems or path. And kudos to you guys for being able to create that for yourselves and for your people. It's very rare. And transparency is something that we're very passionate about too. So it sounds like we have a lot of commonalities between us, even though we've never met in person.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to change that for sure.
Absolutely. Well, cool guys. Is there anything you want to add before we sign off here?
No, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, the main thing is, you know, wherever you're releasing this, I mean, we want to be your go-to referral source for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So if anybody's listening to this or you guys as well, we want to be, you know, Dallas-Fort Worth and Houston, Texas. We still have, we have agents on the ground in Houston. So let us know how we can be a resource for you guys and any other agents that check this out.
Absolutely. That'll definitely be the case with the similar mindsets. Thank you guys for your time. We appreciate it. And we'll definitely be in touch.